Hello and welcome back to the Old School MMA review, and today we've got something a little bit different for you, and that something different is Zane being furiously angry and enthusiastic about something. Zane, what is going
Oh
on?
shit! Now I feel like I'm held to that. That was all just. No, I'm okay. So yeah, we were talking about doing an award thing because we've watched a bunch of these shows obviously for a while now, and I think it's one of those ways that like I want to galvanize interest because these are events that even you talk about them, you go over them, but for a lot of people it's all just sort of ancient history falls into the background. And one of the ways that we galvanize interest is, talking about finding out what other people find is important, whatever other people remember, what other moments have risen out of the ether of past events. So we're doing the old school MMA awards, and yeah, we had a bunch of categories we wanted to go over to cover classic events.
Yes, we did, and when we rehearsed this moments ago, Zane was all like, "We're gonna do an award show, damn it!" So now I've got to do that for him. We're gonna have an award show, damn it! And I'm enthusiastic and I'm galvanized about it, and other big words that Zane used that I don't know what the meaning of they are
I'm
is.
mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna network this up now. Yeah, that's right. This has been something we've been thinking about for a while, and I think we mentioned it briefly at the end of the last video we did for UFC 11, how we want to do an old school award show. Not a reward show, though we might do that later on. We'll have to get some prizes for that, or some kind of maybe credit card, possibly, where you can give us your money. But we're going to do an award show for now. And basically, the rules are essentially this. It is the Old School MMA Awards Volume 1. And what that means is this award section will take place over all the events we have watched so far, which is UFC 1 through UFC 11. So that means, in other words, none of these categories will include any fights or fighters beyond that timeline, and it only takes place for the stuff that we have watched so far, which is only SEG UFCs. So that's pretty much it. We'll get a bit more into that after we announce the categories, but hey, let's start doing that. Zane, would you like to announce the first three categories?
All right, the first three categories are going to be best knockout, classic. There were and this is a good one I think because there were some very particular knockouts that kind of got forgotten because there weren't a lot of knockouts. There were a lot of sort of TKOs, there were a lot of stoppages, there were a lot of the refs stepping in. But big knockouts were very sort of individual, special things in the early days of the UFC. So there were some big moments, some very memorable knockouts that we're going to get, that we want to bring back up. But they're things notable in a sea of a lot of fights getting stopped, but not necessarily a lot of major KOs. Um, the other one, next one, best submission. Obviously, there were a lot of submissions. Hoist Gracie's entire early UFC career were big submission victories. So, a lot of submissions to talk about, a lot of submissions to go over and vote on. And then best fight. Obviously the culmination between best knockout, best submission. You gotta have your best fights, the real all-out wars, the fights that maybe went 5 minutes, went 20 minutes, were just tooth and nail, edge of your seat action all the way through. Um, it's again these early shows. A lot of them were kind of uneven. There was a lot of low lights, a lot of low moments, but some real highlight moments that really stood out.
All right, then after those three, we also have well, I guess we can call these. I don't know if they're going to be awards for greatest achievements, but we got some stinker awards too, and that starts with our worst fight ever award, because as we know, these early UFCs especially, there were a lot of fights that were just incredibly hard to sit through, and we're not going to announce any nominees just yet. We're going to talk about that later, but yeah, for every really good fight there was about 7 to 8 really horrible fights. I think that ratio is pretty accurate, right, Zane?
Yeah, that's pretty close. For every great fight, there were half a dozen really bad fights.
Easily, easily. But on the other side of that, we also have Best Brawl as another award, Best Brawl, and there were a lot of those too. And again, not all those were amazing, but we're going to talk about the ones that were the best brawls that we ever saw. That's going to be a fun one because I can't wait to actually maybe go back and rewatch a lot of those too, and I hope you guys do as well.
Yeah, sort of a
Uh,
best worst fight ever. I like to think of it like we have the worst and then the best worst.
Pretty much, yeah. That's kind of who we are as old school MMA. We are the best of the worst, aren't we?
That's right. The cream of the crap.
Yeah, that's correct. Cream of the crap. That's what we should call that award. And then also we're gonna have Best Forgotten Fighter, because there's a lot of fighters who came and went in those early days, especially who had first appearances. Maybe they had two appearances, whatever. And then they just kind of disappeared, and then we always were left wondering what the hell happened to them. So, we'll talk about those guys, and we're gonna see who you, the fans, wanted to actually see more of that we never got a chance to. Zane, back to you for three more.
Yeah, of course, more of the worst. We wanted to get into what was the best fake mixed martial arts style, because obviously these early days of the UFC, they wanted to pretend that everyone was a great martial artist, even when they were getting guys, fresh off their bar stool from around the corner. So there was a lot of fake belts, a lot of fake martial arts, a lot of totally bullshit credentials that the UFC even knew selling it, that they were selling bullshit credentials. But it was so important to give the appearance that these guys were legit athletes. So best fake martial art. Once again, sort of like the best of the worst fight, we have the best of the worst fighters, the most memorable loser. These are sort of the guys that didn't win fights, but were entirely memorable in their losses.
Yeah, this might be my favorite category out of all these two, because there were a lot of memorable losers, and I look forward to seeing who the fans are going to want to choose as their favorite loser of all time in the early UFCs.
And then the best after that too, and this could almost be a best of the worst because they were all bad. But the best promo, the best interviews, all the early UFC promos and interviews were almost unfailingly horrible. But some of them were just totally awesome in being terrible.
That's right. And then our last three categories, we have similar to worst fight ever, but we kind of thought that they were different enough that they should be their own category, and that's the best mismatched opponents, because these early days when there were no weight classes, anything went, and that went for the matchmaking too. So we had a lot of fights that just didn't make any sense on paper and just were bizarre to watch, and they were pretty great in their own aspect. So that is another category, best mismatched opponents. And then again, following that suit, we also have the best tap out to nothing in particular. It's a very verbose title, but it works because it's damn true. A lot of these early UFCs as well. We had a lot of submissions, and we have our best submission category. But on the other hand, we had a lot of guys who just tapped out because they just sucked or didn't know what to do. So that's essentially its own category, and that's the best tap outs to nothing at all. And finally, I guess our big main Oscar or I don't know what we're going to call these awards. Maybe the Andy Andersons we'll call them. We'll figure that out. But
The Andy Andersons, the best Anderson, the best of the Andys,
the Golden Andy Award.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our final category is the best event ever. Again, this is only from UFC 1 to UFC 11, but nonetheless, best event ever. We had a lot of events that we hated, we had a lot of events that we liked, and we're going to let you guys say which ones were your all-time favorite out of all those shows. So those are our main 12 categories, and we'll also have a special Lifetime Unachievement Award to a certain person in particular, who we will reveal later on. And yeah, we're going to call it Lifetime Achievement Award, but I think it's just better to say it's an Unachievement Award.
Yeah, that's probably closer to the truth. And I think, maybe we'll even let the fans vote on it. Not saying that there will be any difference in what you can vote for. It'll maybe, but might as well give them 4 different options, even if they're all the same.
They've got enough Democratic options as is. We don't need to give them any more power.
All right, maybe they can't vote on it. I'm just saying that, they could at least vote. They could vote to approve that he's going to get the award.
Oh, they'll approve. They don't even need to know who it is, and they'll approve. So those are our 12 categories for this first award show. And the way voting is going to work is going to be twofold. Now, you guys who are watching this on YouTube, you're hearing the announcement, and anybody who's watching it on my site, bloodyelbow.com, this is the way to officially hear our announcement. What we're going to do from here on out to vote is probably starting tomorrow or maybe even the day this video comes out, we're going to have polls on both bloodyelbow.com and on my site. Now, because Bloody Elbow is a real site, unlike mine, they actually have a proper polling system. So we're going to have multiple polls, and you can check my Twitter feed or Zane's Twitter feed or hopefully Bloody Elbow's Twitter feed and hopefully a bunch of other people will retweet this stuff, as to where to go to vote. And on my site, it'll be a little different. You're going to just be able to comment on who you choose. On YouTube, I don't know if I'm going to allow any voting just yet. You can check the description box below this video on YouTube, and you can see if I've actually decided how we're going to do that. But for the most part, we want the voting to happen on bloodyelbow.com and on my site just because it's much more organized.
Yeah, I don't really want a bunch of votes for how gay I am. That seems like the very probable YouTube voting system.
Yeah, I'm a little sick of all the votes for how ugly and Jewish I am. I'm getting a little sick of those too.
All right. So far, the votes are at vary for both.
Yes. So yeah, that's gonna be our award show. Voting will begin pretty much as soon as this post hits the interwebs, I guess. And it's gonna probably take about 3 to 4 weeks, I figure, because what we're gonna do in between here is we're gonna take a break from the UFCs for a little bit. Not that we haven't taken a long enough break as is, but we're gonna take a little bit of a break and we're gonna review a documentary. We're going to officially review our first documentary on this show, and that's gonna be Choke, which is the 1999 documentary about the 1995 Valley Tudo Japan Open Tournament, which starred Hickson Gracie, and it's really the father of all MMA documentaries. I think I don't think there's anything that's older than that that is specifically for mixed martial arts. So we're going to review that in between as you guys vote for all this stuff. Once that's done, we'll collect the data. We'll have our official award show, and then after that, we are also proud to announce we're going to continue with UFCs. We're going to pick right up at UFC 12 and keep going until our next major UFC milestone.
Sounds like a good plan. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to talking about Choke because it's really, I mean, it's almost more just watching Vale Tudo Japan than it is actually like a documentary, you know?
Yeah, it's barely a documentary, but it's pretty fun, and yeah, so that's what you got to wait for. That should be out probably 1 or 2 weeks from now, from the time this video coming out. So look forward to that, and check Zane's Twitter, my Twitter, Bloody Elbows Twitter, and that's how you're gonna find out how to go vote. So yeah, we hope to see you guys turn out in droves to vote for your favorite old school MMA moments in this very first award show. Let's make it a big one so that we can keep doing these later on.
Yes, very much so. It should be. We'll make sure to get the word out, spread it around, enjoy it, people, because we want people to feel connected to the past of MMA. It's not a rich history, it's not a deep history, but it's the only one we got.
That's very true. It's very poetic, Zane.
Well, thank you.
It is truly the best of the worst. Uh, we are the cream of the crap. So, and before we go with this video too, Zane, just plug your Twitter so that people know where to check out you and follow you so they can know when to vote.
Okay, yes. You can always follow. You can follow me at the Zane Simon. I will be spreading this around along with lots of pictures of my dog and MMA news in general. So you can always
Okay.
follow me there.
And you guys can follow me as well on just the Fight Nerd. Easy enough to figure out. So that is our announcement. Stay tuned very soon. The voting begins now. So choose wisely. Choose your destructor. It's going to be a giant golden Andy Anderson that just attacks New York City.
That is the most horrifying thing I can imagine. Especially if he's wearing that leotard he wore when he fought Jared Hess.
Of course, that's going to be platinum leotard for the outfit. All right, folks, that is our announcement. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching, and let the voting begin.